Well, hello everyone. Everyone say hi, Bart. Yesterday we had Homer, uh, and maybe we'll have a different guest tomorrow for the next lesson. So see if you can figure out who the next one might be. What is your prediction? All right, today we're doing lesson 137, and that is on circumference. What is circumference? Circumference is a fancy way of saying the perimeter or the distance around a circle. We've done lots of perimeter formulas already: perimeter of a rectangle, a parallelogram, a square, and a triangle. So think of it that way, just as far as it's the distance around something. So for circumference, there are actually two formulas, two different ways of figuring out the distance around a circle. And unlike all the other formulas that started with a capital P, this one will start with a capital C, which makes sense. Two different types of questions today. One, they're going to give you the diameter. And if they give you the diameter, the formula is pi times d. And d is diameter. And we talked about that in the last lesson, diameter being the distance from one side of the circle right through the middle to the other side in a straight line. So what is this thing right here? Pi, some of you have seen it before. Pi. No, not that type of pi. We're talking, pi is actually a Greek letter that had a numerical value. So for math, pi that we're going to use is 3.14, or 22 over 7 is another way of looking at it. Now pi actually goes on forever, 3.14, and it goes on and on. So if you have a calculator, you can just hit the pi symbol and you'll see this big long decimal that goes on forever. But for our purposes, all you need to know is it up to the hundredths place. So 3.14. So using this formula now, if they give you the diameter, let's take a look at one. Let's say the diameter is 3. Well, you start with your formula. Mr. Unger, do we have to write the formula? Yeah, you have to write the formula down for every question. So you start it like this. Circumference equals pi times d. And right underneath, keep this all organized, we write a 3.14. And in this case, we said the diameter is 3, so it's times 3. So we do our work. Mr. Unger, can we use a No, you can tell it's not a calculator question. So here we go. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 to the 1. 3 times 1 plus 1 is 4. And 3 times 3 is 9. So we count 2 digits over for the decimal, 2 digits over. And because this is perimeter, circumference of a circle is a perimeter. Oh, I didn't mention at the start what units it's in. Let's pretend it's centimeters. So if it's centimeters, we write centimeters. We do not write centimeters squared because that is only for area questions. So this would be our final answer, unless they told us to round it to the tenths or something. In this case, we're not rounding, so we'll just keep it as is. So that is how you do a circumference question when they give you the diameter, using this guy right here. What happens if they give you ask you for the circumference using the radius? Well, it's a different formula. This was the one we just did. This is the second way of doing it. If they give you radius, which we know radius is halfway across the circle. And if you look at these two formulas, they actually are the same thing because this is the same, and then 1 diameter is the same as 2 radii. So in that way, it's really the same formula. So let's say, for instance, let's go with the radius is, let's say 5 inches. Remember inches, we just do the ditto marks for that. That's the short way of writing inches. So here we go. Write down the formula. I don't like writing the formula. That's okay. Still got to write it. So we write it, then we just start plugging in numbers. So we have a 2 here. We know pi already is, we talked about, is 3.14. And then the radius in this question, it's 5. Now, we've got two different multiplication things here. Does it matter the order in which we do multiplication? No, it does not, because 6 times 5 is 5 times 6. You can do any order you want for multiplying. I could start multiplying these first, or multiply these two first, or in this case, I'm actually going to multiply these first because there's a method to my madness. 2 times 5 is 10, so that is an easy one to do. I won't even need a calculator. Well, I mean, you shouldn't use a calculator anyway, but you won't have to multiply this out now the long way we did in the last question, because when you multiply by base 10, you're only moving a decimal. In this case, count the zeros 1, you're only moving it 1 to the right. And that's going to be our final answer, 31.4. In this case, we said it was inches, so it's inches, not squared. That's only for area questions. So that is our final answer there. So those are the two different ways that you can figure out circumference, the perimeter of a circle, using either the diameter formula or the radius formula here, the second one. So looking at your lesson 137, questions that you'll be crossing off will be on page 323, sharpening skills 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 15. And when you see the last three questions in the lesson, 20, 21, and 22, they're all square root ones. Do not punch it into your calculator or use the answer key or even use that chart. What you need to do is trial and error. All of those questions will come out evenly. They won't come out to a weird decimal answer. So just take the time how to do that. We did lots of them in the past. So other than that, over and out.